Hey everybody, it's Jordan, the Millionaire Millennial. In this video, we're gonna be going over private label, all right? Because in the last couple of videos, we talked about OA, RA, the concerns. So if you haven't seen those videos, go back and watch them, all right? Because there's gonna be a whole playlist of videos. But today we're gonna be talking about private label. What is it? How does it work? How do you make money doing it? All right, so this is a beginner's guide to Amazon, and we're gonna be talking about private label today. Private label is really great because you can set everything up. It might take a lot of time to set up, but then it's really, really easy to keep going. So the initial setup, okay, is usually takes some time, not a ton of time, and can be a little confusing. I'm gonna admit, it can be a little complicated, but once you get everything set up, no time at all. You basically have to maybe reorder products every few months, and that's really it. So for private label, I usually say you need probably around $1,000 to get started in a way that you can actually leverage that appropriately, okay? So usually around $1,000, and I'll put that right here. So that's a really good starting budget. Have people started with less than that? Yes. I've seen people launch private labels with just $300 or $400. I've also seen people come in with $5,000, okay? So it just depends on where your budget is. What a lot of people do is they start with OA and RA, save up money doing that, then do private label, okay? And that's what a lot of my students do that I have is they'll start with OA and they'll be like, okay, I've saved up, you know, $1,000, $2,000 from doing OA. Now I'm gonna launch my private label brand. Okay, so that's what a lot of people do. It's what I would recommend doing. It is a pretty good idea. So what exactly is private label and how do you go about doing it? And to explain that, let's go back to our canvas and I'm gonna draw it out for you the best way I can. I know I'm not a great artist, but hopefully my diagrams will get the point across. So private label is different from arbitrage, different from wholesale in a lot of ways, because think about it like this. A product that you buy from Amazon has a brand name, right? So you can go to Amazon, you can search for stainless steel tumbler, right, which is this, by the way, this is just a stainless steel cup, and you're gonna see things like Yeti, you're gonna see things like Arctic, you're gonna see things like Atlin. This brand name is Atlin, okay? Those are all brand names, right? What you do in private label is you make your own brand. And a lot of people think that that's really cool, and I think that that's really cool because you're actually creating a brand. You're not just selling products that already exist, you're actually making something new, right? You're actually building a brand, making something new. So the basics of private label is that you find a product that's already selling really good on Amazon, okay? And there's a lot of tools that you can use to find that. My favorite right now is Jungle Scout, okay? So you get Jungle Scout, it is a paid program, all right? I'm not gonna try to hide anything from you, it is a paid program, but it works, and it works really, really well to help you find products to sell. So you go through Jungle Scout, and sometimes you can spend a while. You spend a few days, a few weeks, even a few months looking for that perfect ideal product. But once you find it, that's when it gets really fun, okay? That's when it gets really exciting. So let's say I'm searching through Jungle Scout and I come across this, right? So this product says on Jungle Scout that it sells really well, all right? So there's all sorts of criteria that you can fill out. You say, oh, I want the product to sell 100 units a month. I want it to make me $10 in profit for every unit sold, and you know, yada, 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 okay? You put all of those criteria into Jungle Scout and it pulls up all the products that meet that criteria, okay? And you wanna make sure it's not too competitive either. So let's say I search for stainless steel tumblers. Honestly, it's not a good product to private label because you've got big brands like Yeti and Arctic and maybe Atlin that are already selling a lot of units and they have thousands of reviews. So the kind of products that you're looking for are stuff that sells really well, it sells a lot, it makes good profit, but there's not a lot of reviews on the other listings, right? So on the other brands that are on Amazon, there's not a ton of reviews. I'd say no more than maybe 100 or 200 reviews on some of the other listings. Like I said, with the tumblers, you know, those have got thousands of reviews. I'd say that's too much, okay? So you wanna find a product that the other listings only have maybe 100 or 200 reviews on each of them, okay? Less is better. If you find a product where all the other listings only have like 10 or 20 reviews, that's good, all right? So I could get into how to use Jungle Scout and how to find a product, and trust me, I will. I have in other videos, but in this particular one, I just wanna lay out how the whole process works, okay? So I could sit here for hours and hours and talk about how to find products, okay? And I know that that's kind of the big one. That's what a lot of people talk about, how to find products and stuff. The biggest tip I can give you for finding a product though is to modify a product, make it better, or make the listing better, right? So take better pictures, bundle it with another product that makes sense. So if I was gonna sell these cups, maybe I would also bundle it with a smaller stainless steel cup, or maybe a 2-pack, something like that, something that hasn't been done before. And that's gonna help you a ton when it comes to selling them to customers, okay? So with that said, let me actually draw how this works, okay? So let's say you find a product. So I'm gonna use a product that I used to sell a while ago, which is these wooden spaghetti racks, okay? So they're basically like, you make spaghetti and you hang them on them to dry. So you could actually sell this if you wanted to. So here's a freebie, here's a product that I used to sell that you could sell too. It's a spaghetti pasta drying rack, okay? So let's say you find that you say, okay, this is great, I want to private label this, all right? I want to sell this on Amazon, okay? So you go to a website called Alibaba.com. You probably have heard of it. They are the largest retailer by volume in the world. And then once you're there, you just search for pasta spaghetti drying rack, right? And you pull up the results and you find a supplier that's selling them, and all you have to do is you message that supplier, right? And there's a ton of different ways to message them. You can message them on Alibaba, you can email them, you can message them using Alibaba's platform. I recommend doing that because then you can see all the correspondence that you've ever had, right? And there's proof that you said things, that they agreed to things or whatever. Okay, so message them on the Alibaba platform saying, hey, I wanna buy, you know, let's say I want to buy 200 units, right? So you can see why this is somewhat expensive, because to buy 200 units, you got to have a little bit of money. I want to buy 200 units of these pasta drying racks. And the reason it's 200 is because most manufacturers, because that's what these people are, they're manufacturers and suppliers, they're not going to sell you just like 10 units, 20 units, okay? At least a lot of them won't. They want you to buy in bulk, all right? So I want to buy 200 units of your spaghetti drying rack, okay? And maybe you want to bundle it with something too. Maybe you want to say, I want a, pasta drying rack, and then I also want to include this, free little booklet on how to make pasta. That's a really good idea. You should actually take that. Okay, so again, giving out freebies here. So maybe bundle a pasta drying rack with how to make pasta. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could probably write it yourself. It's no big deal, okay? So that, and then bundle with that, and that's a huge seller, because if I'm on Amazon, I see a bunch of pasta drying racks, I'm looking for one, I see one that comes with a free little booklet that shows you how to make pasta, I'm gonna say, okay, that's the same price as all these other ones, I'm gonna get that one. And that is how consumer psychology works, okay? So I'm not gonna get into all of that, because that's, kind of complicated, but the point is, if the customer sees something valuable and they think it's more valuable than other products of the same price, they're gonna buy that more valuable product 9 times out of 10. I would actually say 10 times out of 10. So going back, you message them, say I wanna buy 200 units of this product, I wanna ship it to this location, and how you get the location is one of two things. You can either have them ship it to your house, and then you go through it, make sure everything's good, and then ship it to Amazon, or you can have them actually ship it directly to Amazon. Right? So you can't do that in arbitrage, but in private label you can, because your supplier will put on those FNSKUs and they will put on those FBA labels on the boxes. So it's really nice because you can actually have them ship it directly to Amazon. So that's really cool. Now, I usually always recommend you get at least a sample of their product just to make sure that the quality is good, because you don't want to be selling garbage on Amazon, because then you get a bunch of negative reviews. It'll negatively impact your, seller metrics, and then it's all downhill from there. So be sure you're actually selling quality products. Just saying. So, ask them to send you a sample. This can be expensive. This can sometimes be up to $100 just for them to send you a single sample. All right, that sounds like a lot, but they're shipping it express. It's usually only a couple days from the other side of the planet, and they're manufacturers. They like making things in bulk. They like making hundreds or thousands of things. They don't want to make just one thing. So it can be expensive for them to make you a sample. Just keep that in mind, because that's something that kind of comes up from time to time. People ask me, wow, this manufacturer wants to charge me $100 for a sample. That's okay. That's pretty normal. So once you find the product on Alibaba, you find a supplier, you talk to them, you get a good price, you want to make sure that that's actually profitable, right? So you go to a similar Amazon listing, right? So you go to another listing for this pasta drying rack, and you put in, maybe you can buy them for $3 and they're selling on Amazon for 15 or maybe 20 or something like that, okay? So that's what you do, and then you can see your profit, okay? That's the same as OA, same as RA. You're just gonna put in your buy price and then you see how much your profit's gonna be, okay? So then once you're like, okay, this is profitable, I wanna do this, you place your order, all right? And you wanna make sure you pay your supplier through Alibaba or through PayPal. Don't wire them money, don't do Western Union or anything like that, because that's not protected by Alibaba. Because if the supplier takes your money and doesn't make you any products or sends you garbage products, you can just be like, hey, this isn't what I ordered, and you'll get a full refund. But only if you pay through Alibaba's platform or through PayPal. So once you pay them, they'll start manufacturing your products. This can take anywhere from a week to a month to sometimes even longer, maybe 6 weeks. And once they're done, they can either ship it to you or they could ship it directly to Amazon. Those products go in stock and then you start selling them, right? Does that sound too easy? That's because I'm leaving some things out, like making the listing, taking product photos, keyword research, other things like that, that go into actually creating a listing, because you're creating an entirely new listing, right? Your brand does not exist yet, right? So if I want to call this Jordan's, what are these again? Spaghetti drying rack. So that's my brand, is Jordan's, right? Because I'm super narcissistic and I'm gonna name my brand after myself. So Jordan's spaghetti drying racks. That's the name of my brand, all right? So there's no listing like that on Amazon, right? You go to Amazon right now, you type in Jordan's pasta drying racks, you're not gonna get any results, okay? Because the brand doesn't exist, but you're making this brand, all right? So what do you need to make a brand? Well, you need a couple things. You can either get a trademark for your brand, not necessary, also kind of expensive, or you can just get a single UPC barcode from either GS1, or you can buy a secondhand barcode. Amazon's terms of service says that you need to buy one from GS1. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, so you make your own decision of where you get your barcodes, but you can buy them secondhand from places like Speedy Barcodes or Barcode Mania, or you can buy them from GS1 like Amazon tells you to do. So once you have that UPC, all you have to do is put that into the Amazon listing that you make, and then you will be able to print out your FNSKUs. I want to make this clear. You do not put the UPC onto the product. You put the FNSKU on the product. The only reason you need a UPC is to actually create the actual listing. You never print the UPC. You never use it ever again. It's just a number that you put in to the listing whenever you make it. That's it. And I know that that's really stupid, and I agree it is pretty stupid, but that's just the way that Amazon has their product listing set up, is that you need a UPC or a trademark for your brand. So you can see how this is a little more involved than doing OA or RA, but the payoff's way better, because now that those products are in stock, you can do one of two things. You can either just sit back and wait for them to sell, or you can run some Amazon ads, which are really easy to set up. I'm not even gonna talk about that. It's really easy to run ads right there on Amazon. But a lot of products that I launch, I don't run any ads at all. They just start selling because I did my due diligence, I did proper research, and I knew that if I brought this product and maybe I made a bundle, maybe I improved the product, right? Like I was saying to do, I know the product's gonna sell, right? So I don't even have to do any advertising. Amazon is one of the largest search engines in the world, okay? People get on Amazon to search for products. So when they type in spaghetti drying rack, your product's gonna come up. They want to sell your product. Amazon wants you to make money, because when you make money, they make money, all right? So it only makes sense for them to constantly be trying to sell your product to its customers, okay? So your products will sell if they're good, all right? So there's a big if. Just make sure your products are good, okay? So you can do ads, or you can just sit back and let them sell. And that's what I usually like to do. I like to just sit back and be like, all right, oh, I sold another 10 units today, great. Just made another $100. Oh, look, just made another $100. Because I'll usually order a longer amount of supply. Like I'll order between 3 to 6 months worth of inventory for my private label products. So for 3 to 6 months, I'm just sitting back, right? Just letting them sell, not doing anything, not even worried about it. Some days I don't even check to see how many units I've sold, because I don't have to. I don't have to do anything. That's the power of FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, all right? So sit back, relax for the next 6 months, and then when your inventory starts getting low, then you just go to your supplier and say, hey, I'd like to order another 200-300 units. And they're like, okay. And then they ship it off to Amazon, gets more in stock, sit back again. Private label can be complicated. It can be a little difficult to set up, more difficult than OA. It is a little more costly. So I hope I haven't scared you or anything with PL, you know, making it seem like it's more complicated. It's really not. If you are working a normal day job, even like at an office or even at a retail store or something, I guarantee you this is not any harder than what you're doing on the day-to-day basis right now, okay? You just have to learn how to do it. Just like with anything, right? You had to learn the job that you're doing right now. Maybe it's not complicated, but you still had to learn how to do it. Same thing here. This is a job, you gotta learn how to do it. So that is it for PL, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. We're gonna be talking about wholesale. It's kind of the big goal. Everybody's trying to get to wholesale because that's where a lot of money is made. I know several multi-million-dollar sellers that do wholesale. We're gonna be talking about how to get involved there and how to make a ton of money doing wholesale on Amazon. So I'll see you guys in that video.